everyone, welcome back. Today we'll be embarking on a miracle of screw-ups. That is, the Warrior Spirit. Now, the Warrior Spirit is a melee for heavy with stats of plus 30% damage and 50 HP back on kill, with the downsides of plus 30% damage intake. Wait, did I read that right? You have plus 30% damage, but you take plus 30% damage from all sources. And this is a melee, on the slowest class in the game. So not only do you take a ton more damage from any source, but someone not using this weapon against you in a melee fight does the exact same damage you do? No, this can't be right. This has to be stats to like a minigun or shotgun or something, right? No. You're sure that this is a melee for the slowest class in the game? Okay, let's pick up our pants and talk about this weapon. Now, as you may have guessed, this 30% damage buff isn't useful, like at all. Firstly, you do 85 damage on melee hit, which is respectable, but you're the slowest class in the game and you have no way to fix that without changing your melee.
What about steak?
Oh, of course. Of course! Who wouldn't have mentioned the steak? Well, first off, the 25% and plus 30% makes 55% damage intake. Like, holy shit, you can die incredibly fast by anything and everything. And given the movement speed is vital to make this weapon even start to be a good, sorta, kind of decent weapon. And the mini crits make it so you can two-shot a soldier, so that's an upside. But for what the stake does, it actually hurts you more than it helps you. I'll get around to making adjusted tips on it, but till then, just don't use it. It's not a good weapon. Actually, no weapon in the Hibernating Bear set is good. The Brass Beast is poor, the Stake is bad, the Warrior Spirit is just the worst. So it's rare to get a kill as heavy with your melee, because you're slow and it only does 65 damage, when you could just use your minigun and already have killed them before you even pull out your melee. Unless you're solely going for melee kills, that is. But even then, it's still challenging work. With this, you do 85 damage on base hit, which only makes it easier to kill 150 HP classes, as they now die in 2 hits, not 3. Not to mention, this doesn't affect the low health classes either, like scouts, snipers, and spies. They all have 125 HP, and the stock fist kills them in 2 hits, and this also kills them in 2 hits. So it's not a big difference there. It only really affects the 150 HP classes and above.
Also, there's only one class that has 150 HP, and that's the medic. And it's very hard as heavy to get close enough to their medic to kill him with a melee.
So that's a change to your weapon, right? 85 damage. Seems kinda different and situational. Well, this next upside is literally never useful. You get 50 HP back after every kill. 50 HP! That is worthless to a heavy. That is less than you get from a small med pack. But, health is health. Get enough kills and it might be useful. But the one and only downside then kicks in. Plus 30% damage intake from all sources. I literally can't facepalm enough. Let's state the obvious. You do 85 damage with your melee hit because you get plus 30% damage. But the enemy also gets plus 30% damage, so their melee does 85 damage on you. So essentially, they're using your own weapon against you. They can use whatever they want stacked with this too. Like a KGB now does the same damage that you do and gives them crits after killing you. So what this does is effectively counteracts your plus 30% damage buff, and this is only in a melee fight. That's not even accounting for range. Range, it's even worse. They can use whatever weapon they'd want and plow through you. Like a single syringe does about 20 damage. Sure, you get 50 HP back once you kill him, but you take 100 in the process. So let's talk about how you can even slightly begin to use this weapon. Now, before I start, I hope you understand that this is possibly the worst weapon in all of TF2. But with that said, let's talk about how to use it. Now, what you have to do is kill the enemy before they can even hit you. Like, you have to be the first to draw and the first to kill. They can't even have noticed you. If they hit you once, you're gonna be hurting. Which is different. It's a new style heavy. It's kind of like more sneaky, kind of more backstabby, which sounds really cool on paper, like, wow, a melee only heavy that relies on stealth and flanking? But you forget, you're the slowest class, and the loudest. So even if you're able to get behind the enemy, good luck catching up to them. That's the only way to use this weapon effectively. I mean, I've also tried whipping it out at the last minute to finish someone off and get that 50 HP. Kind of like a power jack move where you damage them, whip it out, gets 50 HP. But by the time you rev down, the enemy will be gone or have already died. So what you could do is you could use a shotgun, because then you could use the shotgun, switch to that, and get the 50 HP. That's kind of redundant, because you could just use a minigun and sandwich instead, because the sandwich heals you better than the Warrior Spirit does, and you don't have to use the shotgun. Now, this weapon would be good with the Buffalo Stake, and it actually used to be very good, but due to the intake of damage from both weapons, it is one of the worst possible combos in the entire game. Finally, let's talk how I would fix it. And that's probably what this whole video is lingering on, because I think everyone in here knew that the Warrior Spirit was not a good weapon, and if you didn't, I'm kind of shocked, but I understand. I used to think it was really good. Just go back and watch my Tough Break video. At first glance, it seems awesome, but it's not. It's really bad. Now, personally, I thought the gunmetal variant of this weapon was the best, where you had plus 30% damage, and you get 10 HP back for every hit, but the downside was that you just had less max health. But if Valve refuses to go back to the better times, they could make it a lesser version of the Bushwhacker, which is I already suggested in a different video, where that way you use the stake more on it, and it can one-hit more classes. It'd be kind of interesting. You could also make it have a rev down bonus plus a switch speed buff, so that way you can pull it out faster if you want to do more like a power jack type thing. Or, just hear me out on this, you could just get rid of the plus 30% damage intake and maybe say like plus 10 tops, or even just put a different downside, like maybe less HP, or maybe plus slower swing speed. And there's so many other downsides Valve can pick from, I don't know why they did this. But this weapon is criminally bad, and I've got my own theories as to why. All I'm going to say on that is that Valve has to have noticed this weapon's stats. Just looking at it, you can see plus 30% damage, but you take 30% damage. On paper that looks bad. That's not even gameplay wise, just on paper that looks bad. And I think Valve noticed that. I think Valve has a trick up their sleeve. But I'm not going to talk about that, I don't want to burst anyone's bubble. Sorry for the short video, but if I go on any longer, it will just become a ramble on how fun it was during Gunmetal. I can't even talk about it if I tried. You do more damage, but you take that same amount of damage in return, and you get a minuscule amount of health back after every kill. So I hope you found this useful, or at least entertaining. Have a swell day. Peace out.